The markets were down today. We capitalized on them anyway. I am Dr. Stock, Doctor of Education, and in this video, I will tell you what we did and we'll tell you about some opportunities coming forward. And just so you know that a factory that only makes okay products is a satisfactory. Last week we had the triple witching, and then this week we thought would be one that would be down for us because of the triple witching and also the technicals that were happening on the charts. And so far we were really able to capitalize on them. And I'd like to tell you about what I was in, what I did in order to capitalize, how it worked out, and also some opportunities that still exist out there. I will also tell you about the 16 free stocks from Moomoo, and also about how to see my buys and sells through the Patreon, and also about my options course. So moving right on from there, I do want to get right over into the Q. So let's jump into that part of it and we'll talk about that. So here we go. We got QQQ. Looking at what tracks the Nasdaq 100, and I said from this triple witching day that because we closed below the 50-day that we could possibly keep going down below that. And you can see that we closed up just a little bit yesterday, and then at today closing down just a little bit, but still sort of drifting off. And we can still see in the momentum indicator here that we still are dabbling into bearish territory. So there could be further drops ahead. Of course, the FOMC meeting is tomorrow. So with the technicals that we had here, I took a put option position in TQQQ, so that's the triple leverage version of this one, expecting that drop, and that worked out very well. So that position that I took yesterday, I locked in at a 25% gain today, and I'm very glad to have done that. It worked out really well. Another one that we talked about was Airbnb. Over in the Discord, we talked about this one. I post my buy alert over there that I purchased a put option for this one, figuring that would peak out at 150, which I may have talked about on this channel. I definitely talked about it with my Patreon members. I said at 145, we clear that, we run up to 150, leading up to the S&P inclusion that started on Monday. So that would be yesterday. And of course, we have the sell-off that typically goes along with such things. And knowing that, I was able to purchase that put option and capitalize on that, making 10% overnight from that put option on Airbnb. So Intel is one that I talked about before. Now this one I had already closed, and this one I don't remember the exact profit that I made on it. I think I actually reported that in a previous video, what it ended up being. I think, don't quote me on this, either 27 or 48%. One was CrowdStrike, one was Intel. Either way, they were incredible. So if that was one that you were in, I said back on the 15th that there was still a lot of opportunity left in this one. So if that was one that you did your due diligence and jumped into it today, if you cashed in on it, would have worked out extremely well for you. So let me know down in the comments if that was one that you were able to capitalize on. As far as CrowdStrike goes, I said there was opportunity in that one as well. And so far, it's holding tight, really firm right now at about 165. So when we be watching that one, and we can even see where the buyers came in, right at about 163.4. So it's still possible that you did capitalize on that. So the 15th is when I talked about that, and that was the closing price that we had there, and that we opened lower, and that you can even see we had some lower prices. So there are definitely times in there where you could have had some very good amounts of green, decent amount of green in your portfolio on something like that if it's something that you decided to buy into. So the other one that I have is Google, and that doesn't even get into the bonus stuff that I have to share with you, the other opportunities that still exist. This one, I still think that I'm a little bit early. We're still filling out this rising wedge formation that we have here, and we have this sluggishly bullish movement that's going on right now that we're with the RSI. Should this thing drop down, especially coming down to 50 on the RSI, I think that we'll see breaking this formation and start heading down this way, possibly taking us all the way down to about $130 per share. And we do have some support along the way that stops us from getting there. So that support is about 135, and then about 132, and then after that's 130. So we'll look and see what sort of drawdown, if any, we get from that, although I do expect that to happen. So Google has not played out yet, whereas I closed out my TQQQ puts, and I closed out INTC, and I also closed out CRWD. Google I'm still holding on to. All right, so I said that I would show you some bonus stuff, and I'll bring that up for you in just a moment. Real quick, I want to tell you about the free stocks you can get from Moomoo. I trade these options in my Moomoo account, and you guys can use that platform as well. 16 free stocks, and here's what you do. You just sign up using the link down in the description. Here are the deposit levels that get you the free stocks. 5 free stocks for $100, 15 free stocks for $1,000 and $5,000 deposits, and a free share of Tesla or Google for that $5,000 deposit level. And this offer does end at 9:30. So if you want to jump in on that, go ahead and do so. If you want to see my buys and sells as I buy them throughout the trading day, the Patreon is what you go through to get that, and that link is also down in the description. And if you don't know about options or are interested in learning about options, I have my Portfolios Amplified options course building out right now over at the Patreon that I add to weekly. So I'm going to have that going from the very beginner, that you don't need to know absolutely anything whatsoever about options. You can start watching that, start gaining perspective on it. And I'm just about to get into some of the applications of those options and then moving up through advanced option strategies as well, so that you guys can amplify your portfolio as much as possible through the power of options. All right, so let's get into those bonuses that I keep referring to. So let's put Moo back up there. And the first one that I have for you is Amazon. And this one right now, the RSI just barely touched 50, just barely crossed below 50 for the RSI. And we did test that 50-day moving average. So this is one that it is possible that we do break down through that support. We're going to have to watch and see if that does happen. And if you were in on it earlier, as one of my patrons reported to me that they were in on this one. They're like, hey, I got some puts on Amazon, and they printed for them, and that was awesome to be able to share in that victory with them. So that community that I have through that Patreon, absolutely wonderful, passionate people, and there's been a lot of excitement, especially through the options trading that we've been doing and the gains that we've been able to experience. So if you're interested in that stuff, go ahead and check it out. We'd absolutely love to have you over there. All right, along these bonuses, we're also talking about Netflix. So for Netflix, and I got a whole bunch of stuff drawn on here, so let me pop that out of the way there so it's not so distracting. So what you saw drawn on there, we pretty much have a little bit of a bearish channel coming on here. Only a slight, maybe you can even argue it looks a little bit like a range trade, or maybe it was before we had this drop. And what we have is we have some bottoming happening in the momentum, although I don't know that we've ticked up enough on this, especially given the low volume, to convince me that this is really the bottom that we were at. We did spring up very rapidly from 390 to, let me see where this thing closed at. The high peaked out at 398, the close is at 396. So that is something that we find right now, that we are sitting pretty much right at support / resistance. And I wouldn't be surprised to see Netflix falling a little bit more from here. It's too low on momentum for me to bother with a put option. I will be buying call options on this one if we see a volume supported movement and we have some significant improvement in the momentum indicator that we have down here for the RSI. So those are the two bonus plays that I wanted to share with you guys. And please let me know down in the comments the plays that you're interested in. Tell me what you liked about this video. Let me know if you capitalized on any of those things that I had talked about in my previous videos. I'd absolutely love to hear that kind of stuff. It's what keeps me going. And I'll tell you what, my community over at the Patreon, if you want to be part of that, those guys are incredible. So they're very grateful, and they're very kind, they're very encouraging. And if you are of that same sort and you really want to learn and look for different opportunities, share it with people, have people share their opportunities that they find with you, come on over. You can even pick my brain throughout the trading day. I'd be absolutely happy to answer your questions. And that options portfolio, that portfolio amplified course for options is it's top notch. I'll tell you what. So from the very beginner, building the perspectives is where it starts, but you can jump in at any point in time. And like I said, I'm getting to those applications of those options starting in the next video. So I'm really excited to be building that out. And I think it's going to turn into something really incredible by the time I'm done, a really highly polished product by the end of it. So thank you guys for watching. Don't forget about your free stocks from Moo. And those links in the description of this video. Go ahead and do it immediately following watching this video. Thank you guys. I am Dr. Stock, Doctor of Education. Remember, my friends, that learning is earning, and we'll see you in the next video.